G'day folks, it's Rob here.
And Bianca.
And we're buying a farm.
Yay.
Yay. We're actually at a truck stop at the moment with, actually it's a grey nomad stop by the look of it, more than anything. Recording a little bit of an intro to our latest road trip and give you guys a bit of an explanation on what we're doing. Now, for a while now, Bianca and I have wanted to buy property so we could become more self-reliant, grow more of our own food, the type with 4 legs and 2 legs and that sort of thing. And we've decided to pull the pin this year and actively hunt out a property. This is our 3rd trip out. We're in the Bundaberg Regional Council, which is on the coast of Queensland in Australia. And I thought we'd run through a couple of the properties, or actually what we want in a property first.
Yes.
And then a bit of a run through 2 properties we've seen yesterday, and we're seeing another 2 today, but we'll tack that on once we get home.
Well, technically 3 yesterday, but we drove past and went, no.
Yeah, there was one we just went, no.
Keep going.
Yeah. Too much lantana around the post box in the driveway, but there's more lantana coming, don't worry. What we're looking for in a property is pretty much, anything over 40 acres, and our bank, with their lending requirements and the way they structure loans, they're requiring something under 100 acres, so between the 40 to 100 acres basically means we get a domestic loan rate rather than a commercial loan rate, which is higher interest rates and demands on the property.
Higher deposit.
As you guys know, I like growing with fish aquaponically and like to have a bit of a chance. Aquaculture, just a straight aquaculture system as well. A polyculture one with crays and different types of fish and that sort of thing in a dam or a pond, as some folks call them. So we definitely need water security on the property. So far we've been lucky enough to find properties with bores, and all the bores have had a well, some people call them, and the water quality has been fair to average on all of them so far. There was one property we saw yesterday had a high calcium content, which really wouldn't be a problem with aquaponics in particular.
So water is a priority.
Water is a priority. The other thing we're looking for is enough area to graze up to 10 breeders. So 10 breeders means 10 mummy cows, and those mummy cows will produce 10 baby cows in a year. So all up it'd be 10 breeders, so 20 head all up. That's what we would like. Most places we've found you can do that, but there is the
risk of having to bring in feed, which I don't want to do.
No, Australia tends to get dry at times, so
yes.
We're looking at somewhere that can sustain at least 10 head, so we don't have to buy and feed. But there's also other options like growing your own feed that can grow through drought and things like that for a small herd, which is some bits and pieces I've picked up along the way permaculture wise. I'm also looking at getting into sequence farming, which is slowing the flow of water down, getting it sink into the groundwater table again, and when you do that you can grow extra fodder crops and things like that. I haven't studied sequence farming yet. I'm waiting for a course to become available, but I'm soaking up what I can find online, reading and watching and that sort of thing. But I really would like to learn from the guys who came up with the idea. So anyway, that's pretty much where we're up to. So the requirements for the property, for the bank, is it needs to have a toilet and power.
So utilities.
They're the only major requirements. So water, fenced property to keep animals in, which I didn't mention before, fodder for the animals, a toilet and power and a shed. So that's pretty much all it. Very simple, folks. Something we didn't mention, we're looking at doing what they call glamping. Basically that's an established tent that is permanently fixed. It's got a bed in there, some other bits and pieces in there, permanent lighting, run by off-grid means and that sort of thing. And just people can hang around and stay on a nice, quiet, peaceful farm, maybe get involved with the animals if they want, or just chill out and relax in their little own secluded spot. And at the same time, I would also like to run my courses. Bianca's got some courses that she'd like to run as well on the farm. And if we could set up some places for people to stay, then we've got the option, if they come out to do a course, they can stay as well, make a bit of a package out of it. And or people, family with their kids can just come out and stay, feed the chickens and help cut down lantana and that sort of thing.
Hopefully there's no lantana.
There's no
Hopefully.
there won't be any lantana. So that's basically they're extra income sources we can make on the farm, because the loan we're going to take out is rather sizable, and we need to make the farm pay in some way. So we thought the easiest way to create a little bit of a money engine, so to speak, on the farm would be to do something as simple as glamping and give people the quiet rural.
What we're looking for.
What we're looking for, yeah, just a little bit of a quiet rural experience and escape, at least for a couple of days from the crazy city. So that's a little bit of a long introduction, but anyway, I thought we'd run through the 2 properties we've seen already. By the way, I didn't video everything on the property because I've got to, respect these folks' rights. I did ask if I could film on both places first, and they both agreed. So there's no issues there. The first property we saw was west of the Gin. It was 71 acres. We'll go through the infrastructure first. It had 44,000 litres of tank water, which is around about 11,000 gallons. It has a bore and creek access down the back of the property. Half of the property is white zone, which means that we can harvest the timber for our own use or remove it. We're more into putting trees back onto property, but selectively harvesting timber that we could use for building or fence posts or power poles. We've got no problem with that because we know we'll do the right thing and replace it. Numerous different sheds. He said he'd even throw in the tractors, even though he said they'd be more of a curse than a benefit to the farm. And it did have a small back-to-grid 2 kilowatt solar system on it. 3-bedroom house. Did I mention that?
No, you didn't.
I have now, 3-bedroom house as well. The yard was fenced, dog fence on it.
Yes.
You don't want your dogs roaming rurally, or they may be shot. So Jack would be safe in that respect. Also had a cattle yard on there and a little milking shed as well when they were milking. So 2 paddocks, I think, all up. There was a front paddock and a back paddock. The view was phenomenal. Awesome view straight from the house pad. Now, the guy who owned it was an old bushy, and he pretty much just decided that for medical reasons it was best for him and his wife to sell up and move to town. His hat was sewn together in a half a dozen different ways, an old leather hat. Just one of those salt-of-the-earth guys, a real top bloke. When we said it was a little bit too full-on to get down to the back creek, he said, "Don't worry, I'll take you down there. Just let me get an axe, a handsaw and a chainsaw, and we'll be on our way." Little did we know.
He used the chainsaw about 4 times.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And the property, as he said, as I said, there'd been some medical conditions, so he basically hadn't been able to get out there and maintain the property. Some of the lantana had grown over in places that there used to be tracks, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't get any vision of it, but I was busy looking for tree stumps and rocks and stuff like that. It took us about 45 minutes to drive 500 metres, a lot of it like that in the old Land Cruiser. And getting back up was fun. A couple of attempts were made in a few spots, and some of the lantana was higher than the Land Cruiser itself. But once we got down the bottom, though, I could see what he means. A beautiful sandy creek for those IAVS people. Perfect sand for an IAVS bed. And as soon as I got down there, I forgot about the lantana and went, I can build an IAVS system for free with the sand. And then I remembered the lantana and my age. And
then you'd have to walk it all the way back
up the hill, yeah. Great property. We found some spots we could set up glamping areas and that sort of thing. But seriously, just with my age, I'm not old. I mean, I'm just, halfway through my life. I'm 50-something. And Bianca's pushing 28, getting on there. So just the thought of having to clear that slope with lantana that's about 8 to 10 foot tall, we unfortunately had to pass.
A lot of effort. And we couldn't have cattle on straight away?
No, the cattle would have had to wait for a while. There was a lot of weed in the cattle paddock that we would have had to look after.
And no fodder down the back?
No fodder down the back. He did say that he would suggest only no more than 5 head on the place. And he said 5 head, you'd still be pushing it through the dry periods. We added up that and the amount of lantana, and we've had to say we'll pass on that. But otherwise, I mean, just the view would have been spectacular, not only for ourselves, but anyone that wanted to stay. We could have had a decreased amount of cattle, but we would have been fine with that.
Yeah, the other issue was going down that back paddock. You didn't get very far before he said, as soon as it starts raining, don't go beyond this point, you won't get back up.
Yeah, he said, even walking, he said, it's just because of the makeup silty. Of the sand, the sandy, loamy soil there, and the foliage on the ground. He said it's really, really hard once it rains past a certain point where the granite stops. to get any further down. So we pretty much, well, that was another reason why we passed. But such is. Just quickly, I've been very, very lucky. The Living Off Grid team, it's a course. They've been very generous and let me have access to their course, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It has given us so many ideas about how we can create extra income on our property. Now, mind you, they're talking about off-grid. All the properties we're looking at have power, but the glamping and the tourism side of it, we are going to do totally off-grid. So this course has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Jamie and Tom, for this. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who is looking at starting their own farm, something similar to what we want to do. We are relying on bank loans because we want to retain the majority of the ownership. We might look at funding later on investors for the glamping side of things to set them up. But this course blew me away. Jamie goes through all the different funding models you can get, how you can basically, he got his property with 0 down payment. There'll be a little link down the bottom that goes through a bit of a explanation on how the course runs. It is an affiliate link, just to let you know. Jamie runs through his story in the video there. Starts with nothing, gets investors in on board. They start turning over a profit. Yeah, it just totally blew me away. There will be more videos on that later, but yeah, just for now, I'm out here. I don't have my notes that I wrote for a better video or explanation on it, but definitely check it out. Link down below. And yeah, enough of that. We've got to go soon. Now, moving on to the next one. The next one is from a real estate agent who's been keeping in touch from Childers. Reese, I don't know if you're ever going to see this, but thank you very much, mate. He gave us a call actually while we were on the road, just letting us know that there'd been a price drop in a property he recommended to us. So we were only down the road from it, less than half an hour away. So we stopped by Childers, picked up Reese, and went out to the farm, and he showed us around, and it's a cracker of a property. It is. The land is perfect for what we want. Yeah. It's 88 acres. It's all white zone, so that means we can harvest the trees.
You wouldn't be clearing any because there's not enough trees.
There's hardly any trees on it. Yep. So that wouldn't be an issue. We're actually going to be planting hundreds. If we bought that property, we'd be planting hundreds, if not thousands of trees onto that property. Yep. The bonus was part of the property was totally off-grid. It had a windmill that was in perfect order, running the bore. Now, a lot of people want to run solar batteries and solar panels. Have a look at windmills, folks. They are 100% off-grid. No battery, no pump. They last for decades. So yeah, look into windmills if you're going off-grid, people. What else it had? Oh,
well, it had the firefighter pump as well. Attached to the windmill bore. Pumped up to the house, didn't it?
Yeah, pumped up directly to the house for toilet and shower.
And to all the screaming kids. And to all the
irrigation points.
Cow watering.
Oh yeah, the watering troughs. There was watering troughs all over the property. Pumped up to a header tank, which I think was around about 22,000 litres, which is roughly around about 6,000 gallons, I think. So water security, tick. Living facilities, power on the block to the shed. Shed had a septic toilet, had sarking on the inside as insulation on the roof. That's what I wrap around the aquaponic grow beds. Had a kitchen, had been installed, double bed, 2 single bedrooms, an office with internet. So they're on the NBN there, the National Broadband Network. Property was fully fenced into 2 paddocks.
And that medium strip.
Yep, 50-acre paddock, then a 25-acre paddock, and the rest was made up by the old stock root strip. So this is a subdivision of a much larger property that had been split up, and you can actually see all the newer homes around the same age, all up and down the highway that were cut off this block.
It was lovely.
It was a lovely property, all the right grasses. Reese loved naming the grasses, all the different ones.
Creeping bluegrass.
Here we go.
Rhodes grass, Windcassia, and then other native pastures.
Yep. One of the big selling points for this one is just the potential for natural sequence farming. It had a seasonal creek run through it with little tributaries coming down the property, and I could see so many ways you could slow that water, get it to sink in, plant trees, whether they be fodder, whether they be native re-establishment trees. So many, like this is the blank slate I've always been wanting.
And it is very blank.
And it is very, very blank. We're not showing you any addresses, by the way. We don't want to be gazumped.
No.
But The one downside of it is the driveway. There's cattle yards as well, metal frame cattle yards, so that's all sorted.
Yep.
The driveway runs along the creek and the house is on the other side of the creek. And he said 40 mils of rain and you're not driving you're not getting out of the property basically. So that is one downside.
And all the dams are damaged and leaky, so they all need need resealing.
But he did say, come the drought, you can tell how much water is under this property. He said there's just green strips everywhere following the aquifer. So our idea is natural sequence farming, spread that water out, get it to soak further. When there's a drought, the water's going to be there longer for us. So the view's to die for. There's one spot on there, we could set up probably 3 or 4 bell tents, glamping wise, if not our own home, and the views just go on. There's 270 degree views. It's absolutely fantastic. As you can probably see right now with the B-roll. We pretty much all have put this one at the top of the list of everything we've seen online and offline.
I'm just checking the time, it's 9:42.
It's 9:42, we've got to leave in a minute for the next property. Today we're off to see a 3-bedroom place on 80 acres west of Gingin again. And the other one, the last one we're going to see is north of Bundaberg. And it is a 40-acre, 3-bedroom home, a very well-made home by the look of the photos. So that's another one we're going to look at. Anyway, this has turned into a bit of a mammoth video, so I might just leave it here, and then we'll do a follow-up video later where I'll get into greater depths. So there's a little spider on the camera.
I know, I've been watching him run up.
Oh, have you?
And climb up, yeah.
Anyway, we'll see if we can get a picture of him. But anyway, we're going to sign off because we've got to get going.
Yes.
I'll do another follow-up video telling you what these last 2 places are like and also what our decisions are out of these 4 that we've seen. If we're going to pull the trigger on any of them, and also give you a better explanation of the living off-grid course, because check it out. If you're interested in self-funding your own retirement like we're trying to do, or just get away from it all, you've had enough of what's been going on in the world the last couple of years, definitely check it out, because I can definitely see an out for us in some of the bits and pieces I've learnt there. But anyway, I'll be quiet now. Sorry Bianca, didn't mean to hit you. Anyway, I'll see you later. I do hope you're all well and happy. Especially you.
I was automatically going to say, and your aquaponics and gardens are booming.
But anyway, we'll leave them at home for now. We'll see you later, folks, and have a top one.
All right, bye.
See ya.